Level check. Level check. Level check 1. Level check 2. Level check 3.
Level check. Level check. Level check. Level check. Level check. Level check 1, 2, and 3.
Check 2. Level check 3.
This is a level check. Level check. Level check. Level check.
Says you can mute it. If it's Tuesday, that means it's the Apex Energy Cup Series racing from the Slingshot Racing League. Welcome everybody, I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth tonight by Chris Smith. Tonight we are bringing you live racing action in the ARCA cars from the old Atlanta Motor Speedway. So a brief history about the track. The 1.5 mile track was opened in 1960, and according to some, most of the work on the $1.8 million project, a lot of money back then by the way, was done at breakneck pace within the final weeks of opening day. On June 31st, 1960, 25,000 people turned out for the first race, the Dixie 300. Legend Fireball Roberts won that first race, and many other household names like Earnhardt and Gordon have also visited Victory Lane at the famed track. In 1997, the track was reconfigured to include a dogleg, like SMI's other 1.5 mile tracks, and just last year the track was actually reprofiled with more banking to produce more exciting races akin to Talladega or Daytona. Not tonight though. Tonight we go back to the old Atlanta, which we will talk about just shortly. So Chris, fun fact for the night. There's a spot just beyond the track where an old church cemetery sits in a grassy field with its tombstones a stoic counterpoint to the energy and intensity that lies inside Atlanta Motor Speedway. These Apex Energy Cup Series drivers are hoping their cars don't end up in a graveyard of their own at the end of the race tonight. What are these drivers going to have to do to avoid that fate? Let's talk a little bit about how this track drives in these cars and what can we expect to see as the night goes on.
Well, before this track was repaved and reconfigured into the super speedway setting that it is now, this track was by far the most worn out and abrasive track on the Cup Series circuit. It was put into this configuration in 1997, and Jeffrey Bodine turned a lap of 197 miles an hour back in 1997, which was insanely fast, blistering fast back then. over those years, it deteriorated, and I say deteriorating, but it turned into a really, really great racetrack. This iteration of Atlanta Motor Speedway is a lot of people's favorite. It's a worn out abrasive surface where you're going to see drivers searching for just a little bit of grip. They're going to be spinning tires from corner exit all the way onto the straightaway, and some people are going to try to use that top lane to keep their momentum up and to sort of keep that looseness at bay, and others are going to try to bottom feed all the way around this track.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a much different, story of the tape tonight than we saw at Daytona last week. Just a race analysis before we get qualifying underway. We're going 133 laps tonight. There's approximately 60 laps on a tank of fuel, but Chris, do you think drivers are going to be able to make it 60 laps on these tires that are going to wear out really fast?
That's going to be up to that's going to be. We'll have to wait and see how the race plays out. I'll just put it that way. See how things play out. I expect that we might see a situation where, since guys have 4 sets of tires total, that they will possibly pit when they get into that window of being able to make it on those 4 sets. But some guys who are better at saving tires might elect to hold on to that final set of tires for a rainy day, like a late race caution. So we'll wait and see exactly what happens, and we'll wait and see, and hopefully this race will play out with a lot of excitement at hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I'm looking forward tonight is learning just a little bit more about our drivers and their driving styles. I think normally we're used to seeing last week, everyone pretty much had a chance to win. Not to say that couldn't be the case tonight, but you're going to see driver talents really showcase. You're going to see the guys who are able to drive kind of on a razor's edge. You're going to see the guys who are able to, maybe get going very quick early on in a run, but they're not used to conserving those tires. We're going to learn about these driving traits tonight. And, just on average, I think I was looking before the race started, we've got somewhere between a 3,500 and 4,000 iRating strength of field tonight, which is just, unheard of in a lot of series. We're really proud of how amazing our drivers are, and I think we're going to see a lot about that to kind of support that idea tonight. One fact or story I do want to touch on before we finish qualifying here is Aaron Smith. He's the defending Slingshot Racing Cup Series champion, and he missed Daytona due to a prior engagement, but he's back tonight in that yellow number 1, by the way. Number 1, making a statement with that number choice. How do you think he's going to fare tonight? How do you think these other drivers are going to treat him on the track?
I think that they're going to be gunning for him. I think that everybody is going to be searching for him on the track, searching to see what he does. It might be a simple situation of, hey, that guy right there, defending Cup Series champion, he's hugging the bottom or he's hugging the wall. That might be something that I need to do, because that guy's really, really good at saving his tires, and he has a lot of long run pace. I think that it's going to be very, 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 very interesting to see how Aaron attacks this race tonight, knowing that he's got some points that he's got to make up. Is he going to be a little bit more aggressive than normal?
Absolutely. We'll find out at the end of 133 laps, and I think there's going to be a lot to keep an eye on. So we're going to be busy in the booth, but on the track right now, the drivers have about 2 minutes left in qualifying, and we got several drivers who are yet to make a lap. So I'm curious to see if these guys are going to settle for, starting at the back of the pack and just kind of seeing how things kind of pan out early in the going tonight, or if they're going to make a run. I believe we've officially got about 15 or 16 drivers in the field. So not a remarkably big field, but like we mentioned earlier, quality is going to be something that we're going to see on display tonight. We've got some top class drivers that we're excited to showcase. So qualifying's got about a minute and a half left here. And this is the first time we've really seen drivers take to the track in a full kind of normal qualifying run where, unlike Daytona, there's some driver skill involved here. And I think you and I are probably not surprised about who's leading qualifying right now, with that provisional pole at least, is Scott Sobczak. What have we noticed about Scott so far this season?
Scott seems to be very, very smooth, seems to be very good at saving his tires. He seems to have a a really, really good knack for keeping the car underneath him over the course of a long run. He won one of our recruitment races that we ran on a mile and a half earlier before the season started. So I expect to see him up near the front most of the night. And if this thing goes green, I was just looking at the practice lap chart. And the last time I saw before we went live, Scott had turned more laps than anybody else out here, and he looked to have really, really good long run pace. So it'll be interesting to see tonight if he can keep that long run pace up and see how he compares to somebody like Aaron Smith, who we know is really good on the long run.
Absolutely. And one other shout out we should probably mention is Tony Hilbrunz and Patrick Colby, who are teammates. They had a really strong run at Daytona last week before things kind of went awry for them. They both got caught up in bigger crashes early on and later in the race. So we'll see if those two drivers are able to rebound tonight. Maybe at some point we'll try to check in with them in the race. But for now, qualifying is over, and we're going to go through the starting grid and see where these drivers are going to start the race and what kind of shape they're going to be in early on. So it looks like starting on the pole, we've got Scott Sobczak, and right next to him, Aaron Smith, defending champion. In row 2, starting third, is going to be Tony Hilbrunz. And then a new face tonight, running just a couple of races in the Cup Series this season, is going to be that 48 car of Jacob Bradley. Bailey Dutton in the 26 car is going to line up 5th, followed by Patrick Colby starting on the outside of row 3. Chris Pierce, who's actually produced all the graphics you see on the screen tonight, is going to be starting 7th in that number 25 Pierce Designs car, followed by Austin Greer, who we saw have a really strong run last week at Daytona in that number 25 car. Chris, I'll let you go through the rest of the grid here.
Starting on the inside of row 5, we've got Rye Jones. And on the outside, one of his satellite payday teammates, Johnny Rapp in the 52. Starting on the inside of row 6, we've got Brady Powers, fresh off a run in the Daytona 24 Hours this past weekend with Team Slingshot. And starting on his outside is Justin Gann. Inside of row 7, we got Lee Campbell. Lee had a really strong run last week at Daytona. In fact, was in a really good position to win that race. We'll see what he can put together tonight. And on the outside of him, we got Chris Blassie. And bringing up the rear tonight in Chase Berry fashion, we got him starting 15th. We don't have Randy Bechtel on that graphic, but he will be starting 16th, and Monty Sprague starting 17th.
All right, so the drivers are going to roll off down the front stretch. They're going to follow the pace car for about a lap, and it looks like you got a little issue with the 25 car, or the 45 car rather, taking off. But it looks like Austin Greer's got that under control, and he is moving now. And as you mentioned, Randy Bechtel and Chase Berry starting at the back there. We'll see how that works out for them tonight. These drivers pass all these billboards. And quickly, let's just talk about maybe the tips or keys for success tonight. Tires, tires, tires. And we normally like to give drivers 3 sets of tires in each race, but tonight it's special circumstances. It's old Atlanta. We're going with 4 sets of tires. And what about the throttle, Chris? How is throttle control going to play a role in tonight's race?
You want to keep those tires from spinning too much up off of turn 2 and up off of turn 4. If you can do that, you can keep your right rear underneath you, and you can keep your car in better shape over the long run. Might see some multiple lanes tonight, some people up high, some people down low, and you also might see some people deciding to wait before they attack.
Absolutely. So last thing before we get going, if you're watching on Twitch right now, you can actually follow us by clicking that purple button underneath the screen. As we get ready to go green, Sobczak's going to lead them to the line. Green flag in the UD Awards 200 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Everyone gets off to a clean start. Smith is going to hang on to the right side of Sobczak's car and race him off the corner. He's going to get that outside run. Smith's going to jump out to an early lead, and it looks like Bradley in that 48 car is going to get a slight bit of toe off of him, but as quickly as that came, Aaron Smith is going to drop down to the bottom, and it looks like he is going to be poised to lead lap 1. Maybe Bradley might have something to say about that, but Aaron Smith is picking up right where he left off at the end of last season. Everything looks like it's remaining clean at this point. with Aaron Smith leading Bradley second, Sobczak third. And it looks like Tony Hilbrun's is maybe finding his way up to the top of the track. No surprise if you watched last week. So we'll see if he's able to mount kind of a charge. But as soon as I say that, he's going to duck right back down.
And we saw Jacob Bradley use that high side in turns 1 and 2. Not afraid to go up to the wall this early. And you can do that. You can use the outside here. The question is, how long do you want to use it? Do you want to use it long, or do you want to try to go back to the bottom? I suspect that Jacob is probably going to try to treat it like a passing lane. Only use it when he's got to use it to try to keep those tires under him.
Absolutely, and you kind of see a small battle going on between Tony Hilbrun's and Scott Sobczak. Hilbrun's went to the inside and took that third position away from Sobczak, who's going to slip back to fourth. But right now, it's single file. These drivers are probably kind of feeling out these tires, feeling out this slick, oily track of the old Atlanta Motor Speedway, and everyone's just kind of getting used to what's going on right now. No one wants to be too aggressive too early, like we mentioned in those tips for success. Just a quick run through the field. Jacob Bradley is actually taking over the lead. Aaron Smith is in second, settling in quite nicely with Hilbrun's third, Sobczak fourth, and we've got an interesting battle going. Oh, we got a car on the wall. Looks like Chris Pierce grabs the wall on the front stretch. He's going to gather it back up, and he's going to lose several positions. We'll see what kind of damage he's got after that. And I'm not just sure if he got loose in the tri-oval, in that dog leg, rather, and grabbed a little bit of that wall as we look at the instant replay. A great save by Pierce, but he's going to slip back to looks like about the 10th position, and we'll kind of keep an eye on what kind of damage the driver of that 25 car incurred with that. But back to the top 5, Bailey Dutton takes over that 5th position. Patrick Colby running in 6th, Brady Powers in 7th, Austin Greer in 8th, Ry Jones in 9th, and then Chris Pierce looks like he may give up another position to Johnny Rapp in that 52 Mission Barbecue Dodge, who looks like he's getting as much of a feed off that bottom line as possible right now.
Yeah, meanwhile, I want to take just a look back really, really quickly at our winner from Daytona, Randy Bechtel. Randy's sort of riding back behind these guys, not interested in getting up in the battle, not interested in getting up in the mix. I think he's holding on to a little bit of tire right now.
I think you're right. I think also notice who's running in dead last. Chase Berry in the number 5 car. I'm watching him. His times right now, this guy, he's saving it. I think he's cognizant of the fact that, yeah, they've got 4 sets of tires, but I think based on what we saw with Chris Pierce just a minute ago, anything could happen, and you might want to hang on to 1 set of tires for one final restart later on in the race. But it remains to be seen how this race is going to play out. Back at the front, we do have a pass, looks like, going on for, looks like Bailey Dutton is getting passed for 5th place. Patrick Colby took the shorter way around in this side of the track, but Dutton is going to fight back. It looked like Colby and Dutton were a little bit loose off turn number 2 there.
Yeah, Patrick Colby looked like he spun those tires just a little bit off of turn 2. When I say spin the tires, it's not like spin the tires on a restart, but you do get that sensation here that it's a little bit more pronounced than it is at some other tracks. You're just in a drift. You're sort of in a slide when you come up off of turns 2 and turns 4. And it'll be interesting to see as these cars, maybe you burn your right rear just a little bit quicker than your competitors. Will that make you want to move up high quicker than maybe some other people around you?
And it looks like Brady Powers might have just lost a spot, but actually he's going to duck right underneath Patrick Colby for the 7th spot. Brady is up 4 positions here, so I'm curious about how hard Brady is maybe driving that car compared to those drivers around him. Brady's an aggressive driver. He's a great driver, but he looks like he's going hard right now. As you see Patrick Colby with that rear end yawed out just a little bit. Austin Greer right behind them in the 8th spot, getting a pretty big bit of assistance from maybe that big hole of air being punched by those 2 cars in front of him.
Yeah, this will be a really good opportunity for us to look at Brady Powers here. Since he is running the bottom, he's running that white line. Look at him down here into turn 1. Look how close that left front is to the white line, and look how far away the left rear is. That just shows you how hung out, how sideways these cars are. That's just kind of how they're set up. They're naturally meant to be that way. But you feel it. Like this, you're going to see a lot of tire wear tonight as Patrick Colby slides just a little bit up, but gathers it back up.
And it looks like they're going to hang on to that battle coming into the dog leg off of turn 4. And it looks like Patrick Colby is going to take Brady Powers right back on the inside, but Brady's going to close the door on him there. No harm, no foul. And back up at the front. Looks like Aaron Smith is drawn up to the back bumper of our leader, Jacob Bradley, and he's taken Tony Hilbrun's with him. The top 3 separated right now by just under half a second. So we've got a battle for the lead heating up. Just 12 laps into 133 laps that we are going to see tonight. And quickly, I do want to mention hi to the Crazy Syrup Guy in the chat on Twitch. We appreciate you watching, Crazy Syrup Guy. And yeah. Hopefully you've had your daily supply of syrup as we watch Tony Hilbrun's, who looks like he's had some sugar before the race started, getting going. Tony is started third, but he's fighting back right now as he gets settled in that number 92 car. He is just kind of inching ever closer to the back bumper of Aaron Smith. And Tony, you're going to see tomorrow if you tune into our Slingshot Apex Energy Truck Series race. Tony is going to be in the broadcast booth with Aaron Smith, who's right in front of him. So hopefully these guys don't make contact tonight, or it could be really awkward in the broadcast booth tomorrow night. So we'll see. Maybe these guys will treat each other with some pretty good respect, and you see how close Tony gets to that bumper as we get on that back bumper cam with Aaron Smith in that number 1 yellow Chevrolet. Right now, it looks like everything is pretty calm throughout the field. I'm just taking a quick look. I'm looking at Chase Berry, who's running still in 17th. And if we're looking at Chase's lap times right now, Chase is running on average. His best lap is a 33.1. And if we're comparing that to the next slowest driver, it looks like the slowest drivers outside of that are in the 32.9s or so. So Chase Berry, like we mentioned before, great driver. He's got a handle on Atlanta. I have to believe that he is saving those tires. Monty Sprague, also a very competent and well-equipped driver, is running in the 16th place right in front of Chase. And I just have to believe that these guys are further back there, are just settling in, waiting for maybe a caution to kind of assess their tire wear and get a better handle on what their car is going to be doing the rest of the night. As we hit lap number 16, Jacob Bradley's getting ready to cross the line to finish this lap, but at the front, it remains very, very close.
Yeah, I think that you can throw, just talking about these guys back here saving tires, I think that you can throw Lee Campbell and Randy Bechtel into that mix as well. Just looking at the lap times here, I think those guys are purposely riding back there to save their tires. I don't know if they maybe are looking to do a little bit of a tire gamble where they try to hold on to a set. These guys might be anticipating, hey, not pitting when you can make it on tires, but pitting maybe when your fuel runs out instead. That might be something they're thinking about and holding on to that extra set as we got a battle for the lead.
We absolutely do. Aaron Smith is going to take that inside line, but looks like Jacob Bradley's going to fight back on the outside with that little added momentum on that top line as he's able to carry a little bit more speed into turn number 3. Leaders side by side. You got to be loving what you're seeing if you're Tony Hilbrun's back in 3rd place.
Oh,
Bradley hits the wall. Pulled something similar to what we saw from Chris Pierce early in the race. He's going to get it back under control, but he's going to lose at least maybe 2 or 3 positions here, slipping back to 3rd, right in front of Scott Sobczak. And maybe we get an instant replay and we can check out what happened to Jacob Bradley in the tri-oval. Looks like he just got a little bit loose as he turned the car. So you see the replay here.
Yeah, he was just chasing it. And he did a really nice job of not making that situation worse. Very well could have, but he did a really, really nice job of keeping it together and not overcorrecting. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be okay here.
Absolutely, and he's not afraid. He returns right up to the top line with Scott Sobczak going to get underneath him, and they're going to take this battle into turn 3 for a second time in as many laps. Bradley is going to be on the outside through that dog leg, and I'm curious to see if he learned his lesson this time. As we watch, it looks like Sobczak was also maybe a little aware of what happened to Jacob last time and gave him some space. And that's just the kind of racers we've got in Slingshot Racing League. Respectful, at least very certainly early on in these races. We got a pass, looks like, going on back there between Justin Gann and Johnny Rapp. Justin gets a little bit loose off that corner, and he's going to give up that spot to Johnny Rapp, who is maybe slowly starting to get a feel for that 52 hot rod. Now in 9th place, Johnny's up 1 spot after starting 10th. Johnny is a Slingshot staple. He does all of our photography, does a lot of paint schemes, and he's just an all-around fun guy to talk to. But Justin Gann is also a newcomer to Slingshot. And Justin, I think our first memory of Justin in the Slingshot Racing League was in a recruitment race where, was it Homestead, Miami, Chris? I can't remember exactly where. And he lost it after starting, I think, in first or second position at the beginning of the race, then just turned it around in turn 1. But he ended up recovering to go on to, I think, a 3rd place finish. So that shows you the quality of driver that Justin is and just how determined he is. So he might be sitting in 10th place right now, but I guarantee you he's not going to settle for that by the end of the night.
Not at all, not at all. And yeah, he showed a lot to me in that race, and you know, he spent most of that race at Daytona riding in the back with his teammate Bailey Dutton. Bailey's a few spots ahead of him right now, but I think that Justin it looks like he's riding to me kind of like a few of these other guys. He's not really, you know, trying to push the car too hard, trying to keep those tires up underneath him. And we'll see if he starts picking them off here like he did in that race at Homestead after that early trouble.
Yeah, and Scott Sobczak looks like he is going to make a move on Bradley again, try this again for 3rd place. And
these guys Bradley's are going at it.
They really are. Bradley doesn't seem to have kind of slowed down after he lost his legs earlier coming through the dog leg. And he's going to be in the same position. He gets a little bit loose, and he was very close to the wall there. I'd imagine he held his breath for just a second. But they're going to take this fight down into turn 1 as we cross over onto lap 25 in the UD Awards 200.
So one of the things, Ellis, that I'm going to be watching, I'm sorry to interrupt, one of the things I'm going to be watching over the course of this run is these previous lap speeds, just to see, you know, who is holding on to their speed longer than others, because everybody's going to give up speed. Every single person in this field is going to give up over the course of the run. The tires just wear too fast here. But what you want to do is you want to be the last one to give up speed. You want to be the last one into that 34-second bracket. If you're the last one there, then you are holding on to your tires longer. Right now, it looks like everybody is inching closer and closer and closer to it. So what we need to be watching over these next couple laps is we need to be watching who is still in that 33-second bracket when we start to see that crossover.
Absolutely, because like you said, those are going to be the guys we keep an eye on for the rest of the race, I would imagine, as we inch closer to lap 30.
And look at this dogfight right here back behind Scott Sobczak. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. Throw a blanket over them. Jacob Bradley, Bailey Dutton, and Rye Jones nearly 3 wide down the backstretch. And Rye Jones, I think he's been taking it kind of easy here in the early goings. He looks like he's got a fair bit of speed right now, and maybe he wants to get up in the mix.
Absolutely, and looks like Gran Torino Sport in the Twitch chat said great announcing. He's probably talking about you, Chris. But hey, we appreciate the comments no matter what. So thanks for tuning in and watching. Man, this battle right now between Bradley, Dutton, and Jones is the man. It's making me nervous up here watching it from above. But these guys, Rye Jones, you said he's taking it easy, but he is an aggressive driver, and he doesn't let us forget that sometimes.
He sure doesn't. And Bailey Dutton got a really good run off of turn 4 that time. He's going to try to squeeze to the outside of Jacob Bradley here.
Yeah, that was close. That was close, but looks like he's going to give up a little bit of time by pulling that. But he's going to, I don't know, he's going to draw it back to Rye Jones. But Bradley got a little bit loose off of turn 2 there, causing those 2 cars behind him to check up. It's going to give Jones the edge down into turn number 3, at least for the time being. Aaron Smith back up at the front. You're not missing much. He's pulled out to about a 1.5-second lead right now. And that probably is not surprising anybody. But back in that 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot, action is heating up where these guys are just not relenting at all.
No, not at all. And it seems to me, I think that Jacob Bradley might be having a little bit of trouble here. He might have some damage from that contact earlier. Not sure. He's been stuck up on the high side for many laps. The damage has gone away on our end, but the wall contact was still there. It's hard to know exactly how much has been done. Yeah, hopefully maybe he can, maybe he's got some optional he can get done. He's really, really high. He's consistently higher than anybody else, which you can make work here, but it's a little bit hard on the tires doing that lap after lap after lap.
Absolutely, and you can see that the toll of that early contact was all kind of coming back to Jacob here. And one other guy we might want to mention, check in on, who grabbed the wall a couple laps before Jacob Bradley did, is Chris Pierce in that number 25 car back in 15th place. Pierce is just kind of riding as I turn the camera on to him. He actually almost grabs that dogleg wall once again, but he's settling back in. He's down 8 spots, but I'd imagine he's probably hoping he's got that wreck of the night, or at least wall contact of the night, out of the way.
Yeah, we raced with Chris Pierce in the Team Slingshot Lamborghini in the Daytona 24. He does a great job with the graphics, and he did a great job in that race too. We were talking with him, and he said this is his first time here at the old Atlanta Motor Speedway, so Chris is doing a nice job just keeping it straight, trying to log some laps here, see what he can learn.
Absolutely, and in the chat, Gran Torino's
the 9's getting turned around.
Yep. First caution of the night.
The 45 of Austin Greer also involved. Looks like he's going to get away without too much damage.
That started with the 52 car of Johnny Rapp.
Yeah, I saw a lot of stuff going on the relative and tried to get back to it quick enough to see. But it looked like sort of like a chain reaction type of deal. We'll go back and we'll take a look at it and see what happened.
Looks like Johnny got loose off the corner, hit the wall. Patrick followed him up there, and Austin Greer just didn't have enough time to react right behind, as we'll see on the replay here.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a good view of this. Yeah, it looks like Johnny just slipped a little bit. There's a lot of reaction going on, and I just don't think that Austin Greer could get checked up quick enough to miss the 9 of Patrick Colby. See if we can go back just a little bit here.
Yeah, while we're searching on that replay, we got the cars coming down pit road, and I would imagine all the leaders are going to come down. They will be very, very, very glad to put their first set of fresh tires on. They will have 2 more changes after this. They get 3 changes tonight, with Aaron Smith coming down pit road, and he's got that number 2 pit stall right behind the pole sitter, Scott Sobczak, and he will see if he can maintain the lead there. Scott Sobczak's pit crew might get him out first as we watch these pit stops at the line. Aaron Smith is going to get out, followed by Sobczak. Looks like Bailey Dutton right behind him, and then Rye Jones is going to bring up his car to the 4th position, with Bradley and Hilbrens following right behind. So we've got looks like a couple of position swaps on pit road there. Tony looks like he lost 2 positions on that pit stop. You're looking at the pit lane report on the right. So some bit of changes going on there. I think this might be... You want to check in with the replay, Chris, or did...
Yeah, we're having a little bit of trouble getting it going here.
Okay.
We're going to try to go back, and we're going to try to see if we can take a look at the 9 of Patrick Colby. We'll see if we can... Might have to go back just a little bit more. Yeah, we're having trouble going back more than 1 minute, but we'll try to take a look at it here so we can give everybody a sense of what happened. We're going to put it on an overhead shot so everybody can see. So right up here, we've got the 52 of Johnny Rapp. Johnny's going to slide up, make some contact with the wall. The 9 of Colby gets into it just a little bit, and it looked like the 45 of Austin Greer just didn't quite get checked up in time, and into the back of Patrick Colby he goes.
Yeah, it looked to me like maybe Greer thought that Colby had a little bit more speed than he did.
Yeah.
Coming off that corner, it was probably hard to judge, and he might have thought he could tuck in right behind, but that was not the case. As these leaders roll around onto the backstretch at Atlanta Motor Speedway, they're going to be coming to the green this time by. So they're ready to get back underway. We're about to hit a restart at lap 37 out of 133.
Our leader, Aaron Smith, looks like he's having a slight connection issue. And hopefully Aaron sticks around with us tonight and we don't lose him.
Yeah, that would not be, after missing Daytona, that might be early kind of setback in his quest to defend his championship. But right now, we're getting ready for a restart. The pace car is going to pull off onto pit road. Aaron Smith brings them to the line on the restart at lap 37 in the UD Awards 200. Great start for that number 1 car with Bailey Dutton. How about that? Slingshot newcomer slipping down into second place here, side by side, door to door with Sobczak. And these cars are very close, and they're all on new tires. And one of the things to mention, just briefly, is they've got to readjust to driving on new tires. They had been used to driving them on old tires. You can see Jacob Bradley getting there really aggressive on his entry into that corner. Sobczak's going to slide up to try to defend that position, but Bradley is going to not be afraid to take it high once more in the dogleg. And he's going to be fighting here for second place. He might even be wanting more if he can maintain a run off the corner on Aaron Smith, who I'd imagine is right now at least tiptoeing. And look at that. Sure enough, Bradley is going to draw even on the backstretch with Smith, and he is going to reclaim the lead. I have to imagine he got some of that damage fixed on pit road when he came in just a couple of laps ago, Chris.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if there's one driver that wanted to have fresh tires on his car after that run, it's definitely Jacob Bradley. He was, like you mentioned, after that wall contact, seemed like he was struggling a little bit. Looked like he was just struggling with overall grip, and happy to get those tires back on. And I suspect that if Jacob can keep his car, keep his left front down there on that white line, I bet that's the goal, that's the plan possibly on this run, is to try to keep it on the white line for as long as he can. I think that he didn't want to move up high before. I think that he just kind of got trapped up there. And if you get trapped up there, the more laps that you run, it's just going to get harder and harder. You're just running more track, and you're running more in the throttle to burn that right front and that right rear up, because we've seen how loose they are here tonight.
Absolutely. Those tires aren't doing anyone any favors out here tonight when it comes to how easy these cars are to drive. And just a couple laps after the restart, we've seen guys kind of slip back into this single file pattern. And I would imagine we might see this for a couple laps. And then already at the back, we're seeing Randy Bechtel moving his way up, now up to the 11th spot. Randy started back in 16th, so he is slowly making this charge, looking to see if he can get by Chris Blassie in that 13 car here. Yeah, right behind him, Chase Berry, his teammate.
Yeah, I think that Randy and Chase were kind of betting on having a longer green flag run than what we had there on that initial run. I think they were going for a strategy where they could hold on to that extra set if we had a caution late. But I think that maybe since we've had that caution, they maybe have abandoned that and decided that they're going to just try to go up here and drive up a little bit. I still think that you'll see them be conservative in their approach here. I think they're still going to try to hold on to their tires. As Chase and Patrick Colby nearly get together there on the entry of turn 1. I think that caution has just sort of changed the strategy up maybe just a little bit for those guys.
Yeah, I would agree that caution did kind of change kind of their game plan for the race a little bit. And that's one of those things that, especially seeing Daytona the way Payday Racing, the Bechtel and Berry race for, reacted to kind of the dynamic changes as the race went on. That is one of the things that impresses me most with that Payday Racing team, is they're all on the Discord. They've got great team communication, and it really shows in terms of their reaction time to things happening on the track. And that's just not something that all drivers have, whether they're on a team radio or not. So kudos to them for making that happen.
Definitely, definitely. It's not easy. It's not easy to be driving and to be, formulating a strategy, formulating a game plan out here. And those guys always do a really good job of it.
Absolutely. Up at the lead, we got Jacob Bradley, who's jumped out to about a 2/10 lead on Aaron Smith. Sobczak is settled back in third place there, with Brady Powers, again, kind of making his way up to the front of the field. Right behind them, we've got Justin Gann and his teammate, Bailey Dutton, racing side by side. But Brady Powers also drove, I'll mention, as you're on him real quick, sorry if I missed that. Brady Powers also drove with us in that Rolex 24 on iRacing in that Apex Energy Lamborghini and did a masterful job. It was actually his first 24-hour enduro race, and can't say enough about what a great team player Brady was and everything he brought to the racetrack on Saturday and Sunday. So thanks, and just a shout out to Brady for making that happen for us again.
Yeah, and while we're on board with him, I want to take a quick moment to talk about how neutral the steering wheel input is here at Atlanta in this car. Not much input to the left. In fact, it's very, very straight. And you even see him crank to the right a little bit when it gets to corner exit. It speaks to just how hung out these cars are, how loose they are, how naturally loose they are. And Brady's doing a really nice job. It looks like he's trying to pull up on these first three right now.
Now, let me ask you, are you glad that you're not driving these cars, or do you want to be out there right now, Chris?
I wish I was out there. Selfishly, I wish I was out there. I love doing this, but I wish I was out there because it looks like they're having so much fun. This is a mental game out here tonight. This is something that, you really, really have to be patient, and you really, really have to pace yourself tonight. And try to be there at the end and make sure your tires are in good enough shape at the end. I just feel like we've got a tale of two different fields tonight, from about 10th on back, starting with the number 15 of Chris Blassie. We've got a bunch of guys that are about 2 seconds off the front nine here, and I think that these guys are, maybe not all of them, but I think a lot of them are just taking it easy right here as Monty Sprague gets really loose off of turn two, but he gathers it up and keeps it going.
Yeah, Monty's striking me right now as a guy who's just out there biding his time. He knows that there'll probably be another caution. He's maintaining his tires, and he's just kind of watching the action play out from behind as he draws a little bit closer to Lee Campbell in that 14. But Monty, also a new driver to Slingshot Racing and a great addition this season. And speaking of new drivers and old drivers, familiar faces, if you are in the chat right now watching, go ahead, just type out who you are rooting for tonight, who you think is going to win this race at Old Atlanta in these ARCA cars.
There's definitely no shortage of powerhouses to pick from, that's for sure.
Absolutely not. We mentioned earlier in the race that the average I-rating strength, or the strength of field right now, is around 3.5 to 5,000 I-rating. So up the front, contributing to that with a 5,200 I-rating is Jacob Bradley, with Aaron Smith close behind his toe, and Scott Sobczak sitting in third. Fun fact about Scott: Scott actually has that exact model of car that he's driving right now. So we see him almost clip the wall. In real life form that he takes to the racetrack and kind of shakes down from time to time. So you can look for him on social media and check that out. But behind Scott, we've got Brady Powers and Justin Gann right behind him, with Justin's teammate Bailey Dutton kind of sniffing a draft on the back. Then we've got kind of another, it's really interesting because I'm looking at the packs right now. We're looking at these kind of 3-car packs, first through thirds together, fourth through sixth is together. And then right behind them, as we see a pass, it looks like from Bailey Dutton, Rye Jones, and Tony Hilbrins are also running close together with Johnny Rapp not far behind. So right now, these drivers pretty content to stay single file, other than Brady Powers and Justin Gann, who are battling it out right now for fourth position on the track. Brady in that chrome and pink car, right next to that kitty cat coin car. But looks like Justin's going to get the better of that battle right now. But let's see. Bailey looks like he's going to try to make a move right underneath Brady and follow his teammate right behind. But Brady's got that outside line advantage in terms of that momentum right now. We'll take a lap around with Brady as he follows right behind Justin Gann, the kitty cat coin car.
Yeah, we saw Brady charge up on those front three right here. He's lost a little bit of ground here in the last few laps. I'll be curious maybe if he just had a moment, or if maybe his pace was just a little bit too quick there. It'll be interesting to see here in these next few laps what transpires on that number 22 Ford as he draws up on the rear bumper of the 30 of Gann. Just behind Brady, we've got Gann's teammate Bailey Dutton, looking like he's under a challenge actually from Rye Jones on the outside.
Yeah, this isn't the first time Rye has taken it up there on the outside in that 7 car, and he's going to whoa, very close there as the 7 and the 26 of Bailey Dutton almost come together, but it looks like everyone got everything under control, but our breaths were kind of being held there for just a minute. Quick note in the chat, I think we have a Brady Powers fan. Jason Brad 22 says this is I think that's Bradley, the Bradley kid. Sorry, that Bradley kid might be kind of good. So we've got someone who's rooting for Jacob Bradley and picking him to win tonight. He's supporting that with evidence right now. He's running out first, but the battle remains tight up front. You can see that shot on TV right now, with Bradley followed right behind Aaron Smith and by Aaron Smith and Scott Sobczak as we cross over onto lap 56 in the UD Awards 200 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And look at this move coming out of Rye Jones here to kind of take over the high line from Brady Powers. We watch this come out into the backstretch. We almost have 3 wide there for a second. It looked like Bailey Dutton might have thought about it, but Rye is not letting Brady get away.
No, that right there is an example of using that top as a passing lane. You might not want to ride up there every single lap because it might punish those tires, but using it as a passing lane, using it to get around a guy that maybe you're struggling to get by on the bottom is definitely an option, and we saw Rye do that, and it looks like Bailey Dutton's going to try to do it as well.
We did almost have just another near incident between Austin Greer and last week's runner Randy Bechtel. Coming onto the tri-oval, Greer and Bechtel both got a little bit loose, and near disaster was averted there, but everything remains normal and settled up front. We focus on that battle for 5th place between Rye Jones and Bailey Dutton as they trade blows back and forth, with Rye Jones getting the better of that 26 car. But again, these cars are close.
Yeah, they are. They're really, really close. And Jason Brad 22, that's a really, really good pick there in the chat. It's really impressive what Jacob Bradley has done here ever since that pit stop. He kind of got trapped up on the high side there. And I think that hurt him along with that wall contact more than him abusing the tires. He's been very impressive ever since, we went back green here. And really impressive drive so far tonight from Jacob.
Absolutely. I'm just looking around the track right now to see if we've got any major battles going on. Everything looks, well, I was going to say everything looks like it's settled down, but if we go back to 5th place between Bailey Dutton, Rye is hanging on the outside there, and he is not letting Bailey get away, and we look like we might see a pass coming from Johnny Rapp down there also to challenge Brady Powers in the 8th position. So 2 side-by-side battles within about a second of each other on the track right now. You can't complain about that if you're looking for good racing, and let me tell you, we've seen some tonight out of these Slingshot Series Apex Energy Cup drivers. So no shortage of action on the track tonight, and Rye Jones will continue to fight for that spot after Brady Powers hangs on to the 8th place. Directly in front of them, again, things have not settled down. How do you like if you're Tony Hilbrins right now? Right in the middle of these two fights going on, you got to feel pretty comfortable, I would imagine, that you don't have anyone drawn up on your quarter panel or right side door.
Yeah, no, I feel pretty good if I'm where Tony's at. I don't want to be side by side for too long. That's the thing with where Rye's at. I feel like Rye, yeah, as you see right here, after he gets cleared of the 26 of Bailey Dutton, he's now back towards the bottom of the track. I feel like he was just very, very anxious to get by that 26. Of course, the 26 is actually trying to make the pass on him, but I think that they wanted to sort it out so that so Rye could get back towards the bottom here. But Bailey Dutton's car looks like it's turning really well. That's one thing I noticed. It's a little bit loose there off of turn 2. Not uncomfortably loose, but a little bit loose, as he can really get that left front close to that white line. That's what you want to be able to do. That's when you can peak that left front right there, you know you got some good turn in your car. So he's one to watch here over the course of these next few laps.
Yeah, absolutely. You could barely stick a sheet of paper in there between that 26's left front tire and that white line on the apron. So right now that battle's sorting itself out, but Brady Powers just gets a little bit loose off the corner right behind Johnny Rapp, and it looks like he's going to have to hold off if he wants to make that pass for 8th place. Johnny Rapp is going to hang on to that spot in the 52 Dodge Mission Barbecue Dodge. Hey, Chris, I think right now we're kind of in the middle of pit cycle. It might be a good opportunity to step away for a quick break and hear from our partners at UD Awards who are sponsoring this race. And you'll also see in this video this season's trophy, Apex Energy Cup, which all these drivers are hunting right now. So we'll go to that real quickly and we'll check in with the leaders when we get back. How do we get these one-of-a-kind amazing trophies? Well, we were fortunate to find UD Awards when we started our league. We reached out and we connected with Christopher, and we got started designing these one-of-a-kind works of art. The process was easy from start to finish. After just a few revisions, we finalized each one of them, and the team at UD got to work building each trophy from scratch. They're a small team, but they've got the ability to do just about anything your brain can imagine. And don't worry, if you're not an artist, they've got an entire catalog of unique trophies in pretty much any material you can imagine. Wood, acrylic, glass, and in the case of last season's trophy, metal. The best part, they're affordable. If you're looking for a trophy for your event or league, the choice is simple. UD Awards can give you exactly what you want. Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics, from liveries to social media graphics to team and series logos. To see some of the work done by Evan, or even race one of the public liveries he's made, head on over to tradingpaints.com and search Evan Pienta. All right, and we are back to Atlanta Motor Speedway live. We are 67 laps in, 133. We're approaching the halfway point in the UD Awards 200 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth by Chris Smith, and we still have a tight battle going on for the lead, with Jacob Bradley leading, Aaron Smith and Scott Saubzak right behind. We'll let this one breathe for a second. I think we're in a good position. Chris, you think Aaron's going to be happy if we bring him in right now?
He might be working really hard, but I bet he'd be willing to talk to us.
All right, we're going to go ahead and bring him in and hear what's going on for him right now. Hey, Aaron Smith, this is Ellis in the Slingshot broadcast booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Can we grab you for just a quick second? Will that be okay?
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome. So it looks like you're pretty comfortable right now in second place, with Jacob Bradley right in front, Scott Saubzak right behind. Very close battle going on. What are you feeling in the car right now in terms of how comfortable are you?
To be honest with you, I'm not comfortable at all right now. The car is pushing on entry and then just getting really loose on exit. I've tried to save my tires to the best of my ability, but it doesn't seem to have worked this time around.
About what lap are those tires seeming to really fall off where you're starting to feel it noticeably?
It starts around 20 laps in, and it just gets exponentially worse every lap. Like, I'm driving it about as easily as I can right now, and it still feels like it's going to point towards the inside wall if I'm not careful. So we'll see how it plays out for the rest of the run, but not feeling too great right now.
Okay, well, hey, hang on out there, and good luck the rest of the race. We appreciate you stopping in to chat for a minute.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. All right, so we'll work on getting Aaron moved back to his team in just a second.
And while we're putting Aaron back with his team, we've had a few position changes from the commercial break and forth. Looks like the number 7 of Rye Jones, those laps that Rye had to spend on the top of the track in that middle lane, it looks like they might have hurt his tires just a little bit. And the 52 of Johnny Rapp might have been saving his a little bit because Johnny has charged up to the 7th position. We got Rye Jones in 8th. Back behind those guys, Brady Powers, about 5 seconds back to the lead, is riding in the 9th position. And rounding out the top 10, last week's winner at Daytona, Randy Bechtel, who I am convinced is doing everything he can just to baby those tires, take it easy on that throttle, and try to be around at the end of this thing.
Yeah, that payday strategy that we talked about is most certainly a real thing for these guys. And just checking in the chat, we got Gran Torino Sport, who's been very active tonight. He says Scott Sobczak has a good chance to win, and that is definitely a good pick. And he says also he doesn't like the yellow paint of Aaron Smith.
You know, I like the yellow paint. It's really, really clean. I think there's something to be said for taking all the contingencies off except for the Apex Energy Cup Series logo. I like the look of it. I like a clean car. I like the fact, you know how I feel about side skirts. I like the fact that those side skirts, they match the side of the car, which I think is, I think that just makes the car look so much better. So I like it.
Yeah, it's a very Dale Jr. Attitude you have there, liking those side skirts painted, matching the car, and I couldn't agree more as this battle for the lead. You heard Aaron Smith talking about that no one seems to be comfortable out there, and if we've seen these guys bouncing around, we've seen them loose, I totally would believe kind of that viewpoint and his observation about what's going on up in there in the lead pack. And just looking through the backpack right now, just kind of checking to see if we've got any action going on the track. The closest thing I see right now is the battle for 6th place going on between Tony Hilbrins and Johnny Rapp. Following him closely behind. Johnny's going to get a bit of a draft off this corner and see if he can maybe, look like he wanted to maybe go high there into 3, but he's going to hold off and maybe might take a shot down here on the inside if he gets enough of a run. But Johnny is another payday driver. He takes his time, he's methodical, and up at the end of the race, he will be up there, I have no doubt. And you can see right now this battle forecast from Pierce Graphics. You can see Johnny and Hilbrins are running fairly close laps. They're running within 1/100th of a second of each other in terms of lap times they're clicking off. So these guys are kind of on the same wavelength. Looks like they have been running similar lines, but it looks like Johnny is able to dip his tires just down a little bit lower than Tony, which is kind of giving him a little bit better of a run center off through the corner. So that'll be something to keep an eye on if Johnny can kind of keep that going all night. Also, if Tony is maybe using those tires up just a little bit more by running a little bit higher of a line. But back up at the front, man, these guys, it's like they just want us to talk about them.
Yeah, we're right here at this 33 to 34 second, gap right here. We're starting to see more guys fall into the 34 second time slot here, and it's really easy to find yourself on one side of it or the other because it's very, very, very difficult here to replicate lap after lap after lap because the track is so abrasive and it's so conducive to sliding your car. it's hard to back up your times on the course of a long run here. So, I mean, you might run one lap 2/10 off, and then a couple laps later, you're 2/10 quicker, just because you had a slide on one lap, and you just didn't quite put the whole lap together. And it's just hard to have the perfect lap here, lap after lap after lap. It's not like going to a track like Kansas or the new Michigan, the freshly paved Michigan, where those tracks are really, really smooth, and the lap before is going to be quicker than the lap that you're on every single time. It's just not like that here.
Yeah, so that is one of the things we're going to be looking to see. We're going to be watching lap times, and that is kind of relevant to the question that Gran Turismo Sport just asked. How many sets of tires does each team have? Well, they've got 4 sets over the course of the race. They start out with their first one. We see Jacob Bradley starting up, coming to pit road right now. He has seen enough of that second set of tires that he's been on. He's going to be looking to go on to his 3rd set out of 4 sets tonight. I would imagine that's the case because we are within this pit window. Last time drivers came in was, I believe, on lap 35 or 36. We're 45 laps later. And we heard Aaron Smith telling us earlier, these tires are getting eaten alive out here. So Jacob Bradley gives up the lead.
And this puts some pressure on Aaron. This puts pressure on Aaron.
Fast lap now. He's going to have to run fast lap, or he's got to come in.
He's going to have to come in. There's no way that he can go out here and run the laps that he's going to need to run on these tires right now with where they're at. There's no way that he can run what he's going to need to run. So if you're Aaron, as Sobczak gets the wall off of turn 2. If you're Aaron, do you come this time? I mean, if I'm Scott Sobczak after hitting the wall right there, I'm definitely coming this time.
Oh, yeah. You can't afford to hang on. So as they cross over in the front straight, we're going to see Aaron Smith stays out, it looks like, as well as Sobczak. So no one taking the bait laid down by Jacob Bradley here. We'll see how long they plan on staying out. I would imagine these guys had a game plan, and they just weren't willing to react. I'm looking to see the payday drivers to see if they made any reaction. I don't see anyone on pit road right now as we look at the pit lane report. Oh my gosh, big battle going on here.
Yeah, we got a huge battle here.
Yeah, this is going on for 5th place right behind Justin Gann, Johnny Rat Bailey Dutton, as well as Tony Hilbrunz and Ryan Jones. You could throw a blanket over these 4 cars, and really we could add Dutton or Justin Gann in 3rd place to that. They see the opportunity here. They see that Bradley's come in, and maybe, just maybe, they can pick up a couple spots.
Oh, here comes Jacob.
Here comes Bradley.
Look at the tire difference here.
It? Oh man,
no, that was a smart move right there.
Yeah,
you see the tire difference here. Jacob knows that he's got to make up this ground here, and he's rolling the dice just a little bit, but that's his 2nd set that he's used. He's on his 3rd set altogether, his 2nd tire change. So he's got one more set left in the pits, and I'm assuming that he's thinking, hey, this race has a really, really green flag look to it. Maybe he's just, thinking that I'm only going to get a chance to pit one more time after this one. Technically, with, what do we have, about 50 laps to go in this race, 49 laps to go?
84, about 49, 48 laps to go.
Yeah, he pit once he got in his window. He can make it to the end on fuel from here. So I think that Jacob is, he's rolling the dice a little bit with this move, but I think it's a good one as our 2nd taker is on pit road, Monty Sprague.
Yeah, we saw Monty have some trouble early. He's kind of been riding in the back, just playing it cool, playing it quiet, being conservative all night long. He's going to come in, and it looks like he's going to grab his 3rd set of tires. But there for a minute, if we look back, at Jacob Bradley kind of charging through the field as he runs past Sobczak in 2nd right now and charges to get his lap back. It looks like Aaron Smith might be slowing down. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. Maybe that's just how slow Jacob, or how fast Jacob Bradley is. Jacob's now officially back on the lead lap, and I have to imagine just for a couple laps, that was something he was concerned about, is either being the first car lap down or getting that lead back organically from Smith to make sure that if anything did go down in terms of cautions, he was safe and on the lead lap and not trapped a lap down.
Yeah, we went back and we looked at just the speed difference. I wanted the folks at home to be able to see just how quick the tire advantage is, like how pronounced it is, and Jacob was able to make that work, and he was able to get back on the lead lap as Sobczak is on pit road now.
Yeah, we've got a gaggle of cars all the way from second on back to about sixth or seventh right now, Chris. We've got about 6 cars that are, we got 3 wide with Bailey Dutton. Chase Berry's on fresh tires, so he's kind of threading the needle.
Yeah.
Very close there. He's trying to do the same thing Bradley was earlier. He's still a lap down, so as we start pit stops, anything can happen, and Barry's aware of that. A very kind of forward-thinking driver. He's thinking, I got to get back on the lead lap. Even if it includes some risky calculated moves, as we see Tony Hilbrun's also duck off to pit road as more of these leaders start to come down and grab their 3rd set of tires on lap 88 of 133 in the UD Awards 200. We're in the middle of this pit cycle right now. I'm looking to see
Aaron Smith also on pit road.
Yep.
We missed his entry, but Aaron, he took a little bit more of a different approach than Jacob took. Right now, Aaron is sitting with a little bit of a tire advantage on Jacob here. Not by much, but a little bit. If we go to Jacob, we're going to take a look and see how many laps that he's run on this stint right now. And he's currently up to 8 laps. So there's an 8-lap difference. But look at Jacob. He's going into turn 3 right now, whereas Aaron is just now coming off of turn 2. So this is a lot of ground he's got to make up.
And he's probably not going to make that up right now. There's probably going to be a point in, I'm trying to think, probably if we're talking back to what we think was where that tire degradation point really set in. Aaron was talking about maybe around 15 or 20 laps or so. And so it's going to take a little bit of time for us to notice that fall-off difference where they hit that point where Aaron can start really making up ground on Bradley, unless Bradley really managed his tires here on this 3rd set. Up at the front, as we see Chris Blassie, Lee Campbell on pit road. Up at the front, we've got several drivers who are yet to make that stop, though. We've got Bailey Dutton in first, Johnny Rapp in second. Gann, Powers, and Bechtel, followed by Colby, are all yet to make a stop. It looks like several of these leaders I just mentioned now are hitting pit road. They have seen enough, and in the meantime, they've lost a lot of time to those cars who have come in. With just running, looking at the times here. I don't have the last lap, but several seconds faster, as we were mentioning.
Yeah, right now, Johnny Rapp, our current leader, running a 34.4, whereas Jacob Bradley, a 32.8, Aaron Smith, a 32.7, Scott Sobzak with a 32.3. It looks like Sobzak has gotten around Aaron Smith. It looks like Scott wants to run a little bit harder than Aaron was running. Chase Berry pitted early as well. We'll take a look right here. Chase pit several laps before. He's on 20-lap old tires right now. Just rolling the dice a little bit. He's going to come out. It cycled him ahead of these guys, but he's going to pay the price now. But all these guys, there's still a set of tires laying around in the pits that these guys can change to. But it's going to be interesting to see what the time difference is here. I'm going to pull up, and we'll take a look at our current last lap speeds here, just to give everybody that's watching a sense of the differences in time between some of these guys. Johnny Rapp, Randy Bechtel, Patrick Colby, all those guys still on the same set of tires, have yet to make their pit stop, whereas Jacob Bradley came in a little bit earlier than everybody else, with the exception of Chase Berry, is currently lapping at 32.9s. All right. Now, that's the dilemma. Look at that 32.9 compared to Sobzak's 32.3. All right, if this thing goes green to the end, Jacob could be in trouble here.
Yeah, and I think that is what, in some ways, it feels like Jacob wants a little bit, but I think it could also work to his detriment in terms of kind of how early he did come in. So that is going to be something we definitely keep an eye on. And it's playing out exactly as we kind of predicted in the pre-race, Chris. We knew that tires, it was one of the keys to success. Tires. But the pit stops also, in terms of, that's something I don't think we talked about, is when these drivers took their pit stops, being something that would play out in terms of their ability to make their way back up through the field and kind of retain their positions. And we're seeing Jacob Bradley really taking a gamble with that. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. I'm looking to see, I think all the leaders actually no, Johnny, Randy, as well as Patrick Colby are all still out there, just hanging on with about 37 laps left in this race.
As Randy Bechtel hits the pit lane. And I don't think that you'll see Johnny Rapp or Patrick Colby wait too long. You know Johnny Rapp does. I mean, he might run this thing out of fuel here. Johnny likes to do some unorthodox strategies, and it works for him a lot of times. He's really good at thinking outside the box and just sort of doing the opposite of what others are doing. So hey, he might just run this thing out of fuel, hoping and banking for a caution here as Patrick Colby hits the pit lane.
Yeah, so that will leave the 52, the only car who has not pit. And you're going to start to see cars going by him pretty quickly. Right now, we see that 9 coming down the pit road. And a great paint scheme on that 9 car. Tribute to Ken Block, who motorsports icon that we lost just a couple of weeks ago. You're seeing a lot of tribute paint schemes come out. We're glad to see some of those make their way into our league as well. So awesome job with Patrick having that paint scheme on board. I see Johnny Rapp slow, but again, it's hard to tell with these cars going by so fast on fresh tires. Yellow flag. We got a yellow flag on the track. Oh, that looks like it is the 15 of Chris Blasi.
Right in front of Johnny, and it's going to work out in his favor. It's going to work out for Johnny.
Wow. So that's going to be in a turn of events, and it looks like Brady Powers was on fresh tires, just to kind of give some context here, and he's just not expecting how loose and slow Chris gets off of turn 2.
Oh yeah, Chris gets a little bit loose. Yeah, he gets a little bit loose. He was fighting it just a little bit, and that's so easy to do here. But one thing I want to mention, he does a great job of locking them up. Johnny could predict where he was going to be, and he was able to miss him.
That is going to leave Johnny Lapp. He looks like he's going to trap a handful of cars. That was about as badly timed of a situation for Patrick Colby, although since Chris Blasi was the cause of the caution, Patrick Colby, based on my now I'm showing the 3 and the 18 a lap down. So it looks like Monty Sprague might get the lap back with the lucky dog, but I would imagine Randy Bechtel, who's only on his second lap of tires, is going to have to take the wave around here. Am I right about that, Chris?
Yeah, he'll take the wave around. What I'll be very interested to see here is Jacob going to pit here? I don't think he can.
Looking.
Let's see if he
is.
Oh, he's
Bradley's
coming
in. Sobzak's coming in. Barry's coming in. They're going to take their final set of tires. That means they're going to have to last 34 or about 33 laps on these tires. What do you think of that call?
That's a tough call, and you know what? I can't fault him at all or any of these guys. This is a catch-22 right here. You're just gambling. You're rolling the dice that, hey, we're going to go green to the end. And meanwhile, the exact opposite of that, you see the guys who are staying on track, Aaron Smith, Tony Hilbrand's, those teammates, they decide that they're going to stay out and bank for another caution. And if that caution does come out, say it comes out with 10 laps to go, there's no way that Jacob Bradley and Scott Sobzak and some of these other guys that have come in to get their last set of tires, there's no way that they're going to be able to hold those guys off. I mean, you just can't do it here. One guy that I think is in really, really good position right now is that guy in that number 52. Johnny Rapp still has another set of tires in the pits, and he just pit then as well. Johnny, I think, is probably sitting in the best position out of everybody with that very nicely timed caution right there.
Yeah, and as the race laps click down here, we're on lap 100 out of 133 in the UD Awards 200. These guys are going to get even racier, right? And that's going to be something that could prove more difficult in terms of avoiding a caution. With these drivers side by side on a razor's edge, they're going to be on cold tires here. I think we could get a caution early, but I wouldn't rule out a caution late either. And like you mentioned, if you're Bradley, you're wanting to avoid. If you're Barry, you're wanting to avoid. If you're Sobzak, you're wanting to avoid that late race caution that could leave you with nothing left and a handful of drivers coming in to get their payday of a fresh set of tires and roll on by in the final laps of this race. So these drivers are going to look like they're going to be lining up for the restart side by side here as
we're going to have a lot of guys that get a wave around here. All the guys that you see right in front of Aaron Smith, starting with the 18 of Randy Bechtel. All those guys are going to get a wave around here. The 25 of Chris Pierce, the 15 of Chris Blassie, who was involved in that last caution, the 9 of Patrick Colby, and the 14 of Lee Campbell. They're all going to get the wave around here for being in front of the 1 of Aaron Smith. So those guys are on slightly older tires, but yeah, I like this call. Get your lap back, of course.
Yeah, so we got a lot of different varying strategies going on here. It's kind of a moving puzzle as we try to figure out what these drivers are doing. But up front, it's going to be Aaron Smith, Tony Hilbrens, Justin Gann in 3rd, Rye Jones in 4th, Brady Powers in 5th, Bailey Dutton in 6th, Jacob Bradley in 7th. As we mentioned, Jacob Bradley, his tires are on two laps. So he came in, he got those fresh tires, but he's out of sets.
He's out of sets.
So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. Johnny Rapp, who we think is sitting in the best position in terms of tires right now, he is in 8th. Chase Berry in 9th. Got Sobzak in 10th. Austin Greer sitting in the 11th spot. He's working his way up slowly. Monty Spray got 5 spots in 12th. Randy Bechtel in 13th. And Randy, it looks like, he's still got a set of tires. Or is he out?
Randy should have a set of tires left. He's getting the wave around right now, coming around. Before we go green here, I just want to mention very, very quickly that leader does have lane choice here, and the leader, Aaron Smith, has decided that he wants to take the top. I don't know if there's going to be some teamwork that goes on this restart between Tony Hilbrens and Aaron, but it'll be interesting to see as the pace cars get ready to pull down pit road.
Hilbrens is going to bring him down right underneath Aaron Smith, who leads the restart onto lap 102. We've got 32 laps remaining at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Hilbrens inside Justin Gann, looking to reclaim that second spot behind them. They are 2 by 2 by 2 with Bailey Dutton on the inside now of Rye Jones. Brady Powers right on top of him. You could stick a sheet of paper between these drivers. Aaron Smith jumps out to a 4/10 second lead as he looks to gain as much ground on Bradley, who looks like he about grabbed the wall in the dog leg there. But these guys are racing on a razor's edge. Bradley is letting it all hang out, and I think Jacob pretty much knows what he's got to do.
Yeah, he knows
what he's got to do.
He's trying to get to the lead here. He knows that he's on, fresher tires than a lot of those guys in front of him, and he's trying really, really hard to get to the lead before anybody else can get there. It's right now a race to the lead between, in my opinion, the 48, the 81, and the 52. Who can get there first? And Sobzak's trying to keep up with Bradley.
Yeah, so we got a challenge for the lead. Justin Gann is drawn up on the back end of Aaron Smith, and he's going to take him low on the backstretch as they head into turn 3 on lap 105. 28 laps remaining. Aaron really can't do much about that. It doesn't look like he's interested in doing much about that. Aaron's just on a couple laps older tires, and we are getting to that point where we're going to start to see tire degradation crossover point. We mentioned for Aaron, he thought it was somewhere around lap 20 or a little bit, kind of give or take a few laps. But you can see Bradley right into 3rd. He is inching closer to the lead, and he knows he's pretty much got to go all out at this point as he looks to take over 2nd place from Aaron Smith. You can see him wiggle down into the corner there, and he's really, really got to hold a tight line with Aaron Smith, not giving him much room. And then he looks like he's going to have enough momentum to try to sneak to the inside of our leader, Gann, in that 30 car. Gann's going to take the high line. Bradley's going to slip down low. And it looks like Gann might have enough momentum here to hang on to it. But Bradley, look how loose he is. You kind of see that car just looked like it got a little bit loose underneath him off of 2 there.
Yeah, it got a little bit loose, but he gathered it up, and Justin Gann's doing a really nice job here of maintaining the lead on these 15 lap old tires here. Jacob's going to pull right up on the back bumper right here. I don't suspect that Justin will be able to hold him off. Just the tire advantage here, and they get really close.
That was close.
Yeah,
close off of 2. Bradley really realizing that he's basically got to do what he's got to do to get up front early and build a lead here on these fresh set of tires. He's got about a 12-lap advantage over Aaron Smith, who I think is going to be looking for second place here. Right behind them, though, Slingshot newcomer Bailey Dutton is having a great run after starting 6th. He's up to 5th place. Here goes Aaron Smith looking to take over second place as they head down into turn 1 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Scott Sobczak fighting back to 4th. He's a guy who also is looking to see that this race go to the end because he is out of tires, I believe. Sobczak in that 81 car.
Yeah, he's on the same strategy as Jacob Bradley. He pit at the same lap as Bradley and Johnny Rapp. The only difference is Rapp still has another set of tires laying around in the pits. He's hoping, along with Jacob, that it goes green to the end. If it does, he's in a good spot. Oh, as they make contact.
Sobczak.
Oh, Johnny Rapp.
Wow, man. Sobczak and Rapp collect each other down the back straightaway, and that is going to bring out... I don't see a caution yet, Chris.
No, they split it.
Caution is out now.
Yeah, there it is.
Caution is out now, so it took a second, but caution is on the racetrack after what looked like a really good situation brewing for the 52 of Johnny Rapp as we see him pull that car, get it going again. Suddenly is not so good. We'll see if we can go take a replay. Take a look at this replay here and see what happened to Johnny. It looked like it started out ahead of Johnny.
Yeah, the 81 was just sliding a little bit, makes some contact with the 26, squeezes him into the wall, and Johnny Rapp just had nowhere to go. Just an innocent bystander right there. Johnny wanted another caution, but I don't think that he wanted to be the caution. I think he'll take it, though. I don't think he's got too much damage. And those guys who saved a set of tires, they're sitting in a really good spot now.
I think the biggest loser from this caution is probably that 48 and 5 car, as well as the 45 of Austin Greer, who looked, I believe, like they all are on their final set of tires. I think Greer is on his final set of tires at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. As you know, all the guys that you see right here on pit road are guys who held on to a set, led by Aaron Smith, Tony Hilbrans. Like I said, I don't think that Johnny wanted to be the caution, but he's going to come out here with a fresh set along with these others. So his race isn't over by any means. As looks like the 30 of Justin Gann is going to win the race off of pit road, and Aaron Smith will come off right behind him. And we'll take a look. We'll let the field cycle back around here. But I think that, yeah, like you said, I noticed that it wasn't like a sure thing coming up through the field. And there hasn't been a ton of laps on those tires from those guys. We'll take a look at Jacob Bradley here, see how many laps he has on his tires. Yeah, there was 12 laps there. It's still going to be tough. It's still going to be really tough. Along with Chase Berry with 12 laps. If it was any other track, Jacob's really, really good. Chase is really good. We've seen those guys a lot. We know what kind of speed they have, but man, it's just the tires are wearing. Tires are wearing so fast here tonight that I just think they're going to be in trouble.
How aggressive do you expect Jacob and Chase to be here in terms of when those cars like Justin Gann, Aaron Smith get up there? Or how much are they going to try to fight? Maybe a little bit early on, but those tires are going to fall off pretty quick, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll fight because this is for the win here. This is for the win. So, yeah, I definitely think they'll fight hard, and I don't think they'll let us down as far as that's concerned. I think that we're in for a fight. I think that the bigger fight is going to be around 5th place here, where you see Gann and where you see Aaron Smith and Powers and Jones. I think that those guys right there, we always talk about it, the race to the front. When these guys charge up through the field on new tires, you know, who can be the first one to get there? Who can be the first one to get through the traffic and get to the lead? The first one to do it is usually the guy who winds up winning the race. If we get another caution, anything could happen, you know, bunch the field back up. But these guys might be thinking right here, hey, the race to get to first is going to be the race for the win.
I think you're absolutely right. As we cross over onto lap 114, we're gonna have a 19 lap shootout here. I think my math is correct. I'm a history teacher, but yeah, I think I'm correct. But a 19 lap shootout, and it is going to get wild. So if you're watching right now, hey, if you're in the chat, let us know. You think they're going to make it to the checkered flag without another caution? Give us a yes or a no on that, whether they make it clean the rest of the way. The leaders are going to come on to the backstretch. They are 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Jacob Bradley and Chase Berry, joined by Austin Greer and Monty Sprague. Those are the guys on old tires that we're going to be watching to see how hard they fight. But right behind them, Gann, Smith, Powers, and Jones are going to be looking to basically take those spots over. So how hard are these guys going to race? I think we're going to find out in just about a couple seconds as these drivers head into turn 3, led by the pace car, who's got its lights off right now, meaning we are getting ready to go green. Gran Torino Sports says no way we're making it without another caution. I think that might be a pretty healthy prediction as the pace car turns off on a pit road. Jacob Bradley going to be looking what he can do to hold off those guys on fresh tires. Green flag out on lap 115 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Chase Berry, though, looking like he might try to hang it out on the high line to see if he has anything for Bradley, but you can see him shake and wiggle a little bit loose here. We see Monty Sprague on old tires dropping back really quick. That's going to be something to keep an eye on, see if he can hang on to it. Right now, Greer is getting pushed from Justin Gann in that kitty cat coin car, but Aaron Smith looks to move into third, and now it is a matter of time. Smith charging through the field, looking to see how quickly he can gain on these top two guys.
Aaron,
close.
Aaron clipped the grass a little bit there on the front stretch. Car wiggled a little bit, but he kept it under control. As the race among the fresh tires has gone Aaron Smith's way, he has gotten out in front of the 30 of Gann as
Ryan Jones. I looked. I don't know if he got the wall or not, but he was really loose, and now Gann and Powers look like they are really close to each other there.
Yeah, that was close.
Second place, here he comes, folks. About 17 laps to go from this point. We will find out the winner, and Jacob Bradley is in a really, really, really difficult position. As we mentioned earlier, he's on about 12 lap older tires, and you might not notice a big difference right now. We got a car on the wall. I believe it is Jones off of turn 2. He gathers it up. We are still green. Jacob Bradley looking to defend against the hard-charging yellow, sunshine yellow number 1 in his rearview mirror, and it looks like Aaron Smith is going to try to take the outside line. Bradley gives him a little bit of room, and at the line, Smith led that last lap.
What a move. That was impressive. Justin, though, he knows he can't let Aaron get away. He's got to stay right with him as the 48 slides. Oh,
Bradley.
No.
Wow, 3 cars involved. Bradley, Gann, Powers, Greer got a little bit out of it there. We are under caution for the 3rd time on lap 118. And Chris, that was a product of old tires versus new tires.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looked like to me that Jacob was sliding the nose a little bit, and he did not want to take out Aaron. He did not want to hook him in the left rear. We're going to go back here and take a look at it.
Yeah, and Justin just wasn't ready for Jacob to be out of the throttle like he was.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to go back here and try to watch and see. I'm going to put it on a little bit of an overhead perspective so everybody can get a sense. Jacob is pushing right here. He's trying to stay in the throttle because he wants to maintain that position on the inside of Aaron, but he realizes he's going to hit him, and he lifts, and Justin just had nowhere to go. They were just so close together. It's nothing intentional. It's just hard racing, man.
Yeah, and if you're Jacob, you did what you had to, but you really can't control what's going on behind you, right? And unfortunately, other drivers like Austin Greer, Brady Powers, Justin Gann, they all got caught up and it kind of paid the price, for a mistake made by one individual. And that happens. That's the nature of racing. Jacob didn't do anything wrong, but chain reactions are a thing we deal with, whether we're at Daytona or we're at Atlanta like we are tonight. So now, hey, here's someone who we haven't heard a lot from all night, Chris, who's going to be in second place, Tony Hilbrunz. And he is on the same tire strategy as Aaron Smith. So we'll come back to this. Hilbrunz and Smith are going to be in the booth for your Truck Series race tomorrow night. We just hope that they can keep it civil on the track so it's not awkward out there. We got a couple cars coming to pit road, but I don't think, looks like Rye Jones. Did he get caught up in that last wreck? Did I miss that?
No, but he had some contact with the wall the lap before. He did a nice job of keeping it up on the wall to not collect anybody else. I think that he might be coming in to fix some right side damage possibly. Yeah, he managed to get through that incident just fine.
And Randy Bechtel, after starting 16th, is up to the 5th position, and he has the same tire set and same probably similar degradation. He's 8 laps on this run, just like Aaron Smith and Tony Hilbrunz, as well as Bailey Dutton are. So right now, just to recap, if you're joining us right now, we've got 14 laps to go. We're probably going to have a restart with 12 laps to go at Atlanta here in the Apex Energy Cup Series. And we've had different varying tire strategies. But what it's essentially resulted in, after having 4 sets of tires, the guys who came in and got their tires the most recently are in the best position. They've got 9 laps on their tires, and those guys are first Aaron Smith, second Tony Hilbrunz, 4th Bailey Dutton, 5th Randy Bechtel, and then 7th, 8th, and 9th Colby, Rapp, and Blassie are also on lap 9 of their stint. So any of these guys, to be quite honest, once they get by those cars on slightly older tires, we've got probably 6, 7, 8 cars that are going to be in the mix on this restart, Chris. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm Tony Hilbrunz right here, Tony he's been good all night. We haven't seen him up in the top 3 of Bradley, Smith, and Sobczak. Those 3 guys sort of dominated over the course of that long run. If I'm Tony Hilbrunz, I'm pulling those belts tight. I'm pulling them gloves up, and I'm going to see if I can send it on this restart, and maybe make it stick here for a few laps. Maybe Tony feels really, really good about his pace on a short run. We've had a lot of caution laps here. Not many laps. It says 9 laps on this stint, but a lot of those have been under caution. So it'll be interesting to see if Tony maybe thinks that he's got a shot at getting after Aaron Smith here on this restart.
Yeah, and Gran Torino Sport in the chat says restart might decide who wins. I think you're absolutely right about that. Whether it's someone getting taken out by a crash or someone moving to the front and solidifying their position there, I think you're absolutely right. We're going to take one more lap around the track under caution. And your top 5 as they run right now, Aaron Smith in that number 1 car, defending champion. This is his first race back since winning that title last year. Tony Hilbrunz, who's going to join us in the booth tomorrow night for the Truck Series, is in second. Chase Berry third. Bailey Dutton, after being involved in an earlier crash, is up to 4th. Randy Bechtel lurking back in 5th place after claiming the first win of the season at Daytona last week. Randy is looking to make a real big statement, but he's got some work ahead of him. He's going to get there as the pace car brings him down the backstretch. Right now, you want to be Tony or Aaron? You want to be on the high line, or you want to take that inside starting spot, Chris?
I want to be the leader. I want to be controlling this restart. I want to be exactly where Aaron Smith is, and he gets a good launch, doesn't spin the tires, and gets away from the 92.
We are green for the lap 123. This might decide the race. Aaron Smith gets a clean start on the rest of the field. Tony Hilbrunz is going to try to hold him in his tire tracks as he fights to maintain the stability of that car. Chase Berry is dealing with a fight of his own with the 26 of Bailey Dutton going around the outside. Right behind them, we've got Bechtel in 5th, and we got 3 wide for 6th place back there between Greer, Colby, and Rapp. They settle that out between themselves, but right now all eyes are on the lead with just 10 laps to go. Aaron Smith leads. Tony Hilbrun's in second. Bailey Dutton looking to do what he can to hold on to third, with Randy Bechtel now moving into fourth place. Chris, does he have a chance? 10 laps to go. Randy is about 7/10 of a second back. He's less than a second back. How do you like his chances?
Well, Randy's been riding a lot this night, I think. I think he's had a little bit more speed in his car than what he's shown. I think he's just been biding his time, sort of keeping the tires up underneath him. And it's time to go now. It's money time. And our winner from Daytona is looking like he might have thoughts about at least grabbing a podium as he closes in on the back bumper of the 26.
Car in the wall back there. I'm looking to see if I can see who it is. I think 52. It was Johnny Rapp.
Yep. Johnny got a little bit high there. Johnny was ripping the top. He was ripping the fence on that restart, doing a really nice job. He looked good up there, but he might have stepped over just a little bit.
All right, so back up at the front, that's where our eyes are right now. It looks like Bailey Dutton is not letting Tony Hilbrun's in that 92 car go. He is harassing him right now for that second spot, but out front, it's all Aaron Smith, and he is maintaining about a 2/10 lead, 2/10 of a second lead, as we see Bailey Dutton looking, inching his nose out there, taking a look at second place. He's going to think better of it, though, with just 8 laps to go, 7 when we cross the line, and I keep seeing that Interstate battery car inching closer and closer behind this battle for second. At some point soon, he's going to maybe get a little bit of a tow from that 26 car and inch into that picture ever closer. Right now, Randy looking like he's about 8/10 of a second back from the lead. So we'll keep an eye on that margin. But right now, Bailey Dutton getting a run on second place. He's going to take the high line.
Yeah, we're seeing Bailey he's moving his car around a little bit on the straightaways. He's just trying to get out of Tony's mirror. I think he's just trying to make him look.
Tony going to give him the room up top there. Easy, you can slide a paper in between the 2 second-place cars here. Here goes Bailey Dutton. Will he be able to hang on the outside? We've got a heck of a battle going on for second place. 6 laps to go, 5 laps to go when we cross the line. Look at that.
Yeah, he lifted that rear end of that 92 up off the ground, but Tony kept his foot in it and maintained that second spot. You can't lift now. You got to keep on rolling.
And if you're Aaron Smith, you're looking in your rearview mirror and you're loving what you're seeing with these guys battling back and forth with, barely being able to slip a paper between that rear bumper of Hilbrun's and that front bumper of Dutton. Dutton trying that outside line again to see if he gain anything on it. But right now, we're going to be crossing over onto lap 130 in just a moment. The laps are ticking down with about 5 or 4 to go at this point.
Yeah, and right now it's just a question of, is Aaron Smith going to make a mistake? He's slowly inching out on his teammate, Tony Hilbrun, slowly pulling away from him. I've seen Aaron run a lot of these races in Slingshot. He doesn't make many mistakes. It'll be tough for Tony to reel him in. Will it take another caution for that to happen?
Now, one thing I am keeping my eye on is a caution could reset this race, and we've got Chase Berry and Patrick Colby side by side with each other. We got a tight battle going on back there for 5th place. We got a car on the apron that looks like it might be. I'm trying to see who that is back there. Looks like he's gone under control, so we will not see a caution for that.
Yeah, really loose in the quad oval.
Oh, wow. Blassie almost got into wrap there. We almost had a situation. But those guys getting settled out. Blassie's going to let that pack go. Berry in the wall.
Yeah, Chase
off
is
the pace.
Yeah, Chase is struggling a little bit. He's on a little bit older tires here than everybody else, and he was fighting hard.
Get it down. He's going to get it down onto the apron. Looks like he's going to try to bring it in. I don't know how the car's driving right now, but that does not change what's going on up front. Berry in the wall, but Aaron Smith maintains the lead. In fact, he's jumping out to a lead of about 4/10 of a second as Hilbrun is going to do what he can to fight off the likes of Bailey Dutton and Randy Bechtel, last week's winner in the Apex Energy Cup Series at Daytona. We are just a lap and a half away from seeing the checkered flag. Aaron Smith's got to get to the line, see the white flag to be guaranteed that we do not have a green-white checkered. As he crosses over to the front stretch, Aaron Smith is looking like he is set to basically ride to a victory here unless something goes on. He's calm, he's cool, he's calculated. If we talked to him, earlier probably on that restart, you wouldn't even know anything was going on out of the ordinary as he pulls onto the backstretch. This is his first race back after missing the season opener at Daytona. He looks to reclaim his dominance in the Apex Energy Cup Series. Aaron Smith, he chose number 1 to start the season, and as he comes to the checkered flag, he crosses the line. He's in the first position, number 1 once again. Aaron Smith is your winner at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the UD Awards 200 of the Apex Energy Cup Series. He's followed by Tony Hilbrens in second, Randy Bechtel in third. Last week's winner is going to get that podium position. Dutton's going to hang on, a newcomer to finish fourth. Patrick Colby is going to be fifth. Johnny Rapp with a great position, holding off Jones and Blassie to finish sixth after late race troubles. Jones is going to finish seventh. Chris Blassie in eighth. Lee Campbell in ninth, and Austin Greer rounding out the top 10. But right now, it's all about Aaron Smith. We'll see if we can check in with him here in just a minute as he celebrates his victory on the front stretch. We're going to see if we can go ahead and get these drivers into the waiting room as we look to interview our top 3 drivers, Smith, Hilbrens, and Bechtel. Chris, did that shake out the way you thought it was going to?
Well, I wanted to be where Aaron was at on that restart, and he made it happen. Those guys behind him, they were giving it everything they had, but Aaron did a very, very nice job on that restart. He did it. He made all the right moves, and like we mentioned, he doesn't make many mistakes.
Absolutely. So as we look to move these guys, and we'll go ahead and sit down with our third place finisher, Randy Bechtel, and talk to him about what went down tonight, how it compared to Daytona. Let's see if we can get Randy in here. Randy's already made his way to the waiting room, it looks like, so we'll bring him into the podcast booth.
He's done this a time or two.
Randy Bechtel, this is the Slingshot broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Good job there towards the end of the race. We were just commenting on the fact that you were already in the waiting room. You've been around the block a few times. Congratulations on working your way up through the field towards the end of the race there. It looked like the tire strategy kind of fell into your lap a little bit towards the end. Talk to us about how that early part of the race compared to the second half of the race in your mind. What were the biggest differences for you? What were you and your team talking about?
I was mainly like tire saving. I know I fell back. I don't even know how far back I fell. It was like 5-6 seconds. Then slowly catching the mare at the end, but mostly tire saving. I wish I would have went green because I was slowly catching them there, but everything worked out, and I just dodging those wrecks there at the end is the big key for me. I probably shouldn't have been up there.
Go ahead.
I probably shouldn't have been up there at the end, but just dodging the wrecks really is a big. I don't know how big that one wreck was, but
I think it took out about 3 or 4 cars, that final crash. But man, you got to be there to finish in the top 3, and you were there as the night went on. So great job managing your stuff. Now, if you could tell us what lap you felt like those tires are really falling off? Was there a lap or a kind of a range where you really started to notice that degradation?
I'd say up 20 to 30 in the run, somewhere in there. It's probably where the biggest drop-off probably felt, at least for me.
Yeah. We talked to Aaron, and he kind of felt the same way. I think he told us around somewhere between lap 20 and 25 was kind of his fall-off point. He didn't feel comfortable all night. Were you ever in a position where you felt comfortable, especially that second half of the race?
Not really, because after the first caution, I was definitely burning my stuff up a little bit too much, so I was getting a little bit squirrely off the corners. But the end there, probably really not. I was able to back up my corners enough and still keep the speed, so it still felt pretty good to me.
Well, congratulations on following up a great win last week with another statement podium position. I think at this point, even though Aaron won tonight, we're looking at you as someone who's going to come and contend for this Apex Energy Cup. So before we let you go, you got any shout outs?
Shout out to my teammates, you guys for putting on the league and the broadcast, and all the league sponsors.
Awesome. Hey, we appreciate you. Congratulations, and we'll throw you back into the waiting room.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so Chris, we're going to bring Tony in, and I will let you handle this one.
Tony Hilbrins, driver of the number 92 car. Congratulations on a second place finish tonight. Talk us through that last restart. What was going on in your mind with your teammate Aaron Smith starting alongside of you?
Well, we just wanted to make sure we got a decent jump where we were in line with each other. Didn't have anyone get a good run on either of us. Aaron got a gap, which helped him, and I had to hold off everyone for both of us. So I guess I had the fun part. But it was fun racing the 26. So I think we touched a few times there. But that was just good hard racing. The whole race was just really, really tough though. But it was fun. It was fun, and yeah, coming away with second was really nice.
Yeah, you guys put on a great show together, and yeah, even with that contact, you guys were racing really hard. Well, we've been asking drivers all night about the tire degradation tonight. How pronounced was it from your seat, and about what lap did you really experience that tire fall off over the course of those long runs?
It got pretty bad if you didn't manage it, which the first run I didn't do as good of a job as I wanted. Obviously, I was up running in third right behind Aaron and the 48 for quite a while, but I fell off a little earlier than what they did, or than what Aaron did at least. But if you were able to take it into consideration from the start, you could go about 15, 20 laps before you really noticed it, which the second and third run, you could tell the difference between who was able to do that and who wasn't. And then you saved like 15% tire wear on both your right sides doing that.
Well, you guys certainly had a handle on the high banks here at Atlanta tonight. Do you have any shout outs after a great run tonight that you'd like to give out before you check on out of here?
Well, first of all, Patrick did a hell of a job coming back to fifth after being in that first wreck. I think it was the first one. He had he had quite a bit of damage, and he coming back to fifth was good on him. But yeah, everybody at Yellow Vision, Aaron, me, and Patrick, and everyone who supports that, all the fans who show up to watch, because we do this for you guys. You guys are putting this on, both the league and the broadcast, and I think that's pretty much it.
Hey, I just want to say before you go, I'm glad you and Aaron didn't get together, because that would have been awkward in the broadcast booth tomorrow.
It would have been.
Well, are you glad it didn't happen, or you wish it would have, because it probably would have been spicy already?
Well, you three racing for the front with all the situations we had was spicy enough for me. I don't know if I could handle more spice tonight, so I had just the right level of spice.
I got you. I'm just glad that I didn't get wrecked towards the end of the race. Speaking of that last big wreck, I don't know how I missed it, but I am sure glad those other cars were below the 48, so they could bring him back up the track and I could scoot by.
Yeah, we had a lot of guys.
Yeah, it was really, really close. It was really close. There's a lot of close calls in that last wreck, and a lot of people did a really nice job of getting through that, including you. But that's Tony Hilbrins, your second place finisher. You can see him or hear him tomorrow night in the booth for the Apex Energy Truck Series race right here on Slingshot TV. Nice run, Tony. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too.
You too. All right, so before we bring our winner, Aaron Smith, and that number one car into the broadcast booth, I do want to thank all the viewers tonight who are still watching and turned out to watch this, or maybe even you who are watching a replay of it on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube. If you're on any of those platforms, we would really appreciate and love it if you showed us some support by clicking the follow button. And maybe if you're on Twitch, even giving us a subscribe. If you've got Amazon Prime and your account is linked on Twitch, you can easily just show us a month's support by clicking that subscribe button right next to the follow button. So we're grateful for all that support. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and bring in Aaron Smith in the number one car. He was number one tonight. Aaron Smith, you got a copy on us?
Yeah, I've got you.
Wow, you sound just as calm as you did early in the race as you were battling for the lead, and we've come to know that is just you. So we checked in with you earlier, How did that situation change? Because we thought it looked calm-ish on track, but you said in the car it was anything but. Did that get any better, or did it get worse over the course of the night?
Yeah, it got pretty bad there towards the end of the last long run we had, but unfortunately we had a bit of an incident there between the 48 and I think I might have pinched him just a little bit too much when he was on old tires there in one of the last restarts. Just wadded up almost the entire field and took the 81 with him, who also had a pretty good shot at winning the race. So that was unfortunate, but I'll take him any way I can get him.
Yeah, it looked just like Jacob kind of eased out of the throttle because he knew that he was on older tires, and then the guy behind him, I'm trying to remember, that was
I think it was the 30 of Gans.
Yep, Justin. I think Justin maybe just wasn't ready for that checkup, so nothing anyone could really do about it. So don't blame yourself for that. But yeah, how much of help was Tony Hilbrand tonight? Do you feel like if anyone was behind you other than Tony towards the end of the race, that it might have been a different result, or were you guys just racing, man to man, kind of going at it, no holds barred?
Yeah, we were both pushing pretty hard there at the start. We kind of held off for the first few laps of that last run just to save tires in case we had a green-white checkered. But after the first 5 or 6 laps, we started going full bore there to keep third and fourth behind us. And fortunately, it all worked out the way it did in the restart.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, you guys really ran a clean race. I know we saw a few cautions, but 3 cautions over the course of a race. I think our race controller Sam Maxwell told me we just spent right at 11% of the 11.3% of the race under yellow. So we're talking about 90% of the race almost being run under green. You cannot ask for more than that. And you are just kind of exemplary of the type of driver that we have in the Energy Cup Series. So you missed Daytona. Let's talk about this real quick. You missed Daytona, so I'm assuming that is going to be treated as your drop race. You cannot miss another race, I wouldn't imagine, over the course of the season if you want to back up your championship this season. So what tracks are you looking forward to? Do you see any issues in the schedule the rest of the season for you?
No, the rest of the schedule looks pretty good, but I did run Daytona. I ran the last 2 laps of the race. My first lap was an hour and a half long, and then the second one was pretty good, but I didn't get to gain any spots after that, so I was able to get the minimum points for starting the race, so that should lighten the damage there, but I'm looking forward to seeing if I can build the points up for these next few weeks.
I have missed the fact. How did I miss it that you snuck in there at the last minute and ran some laps? Hey, well, that saves your drop race, I suppose. So is there a track that you're not looking forward to? Is there a track you think, if you had to predict right now, I know it's hard to predict, but where you think the drop race is most likely going to be for you?
Well, I've forgotten all the tracks that are on the schedule. I'll say the Red Bull is probably the best chance I've got at winning by quite a decent margin. But if Milwaukee's on the schedule, like I said, I forgot if that's on the schedule or not. But if that's on the schedule, I'm probably going to have trouble there. Just can't keep the tires under me at a place like that. Like the flat tracks are usually my weakest race tracks. So I'll try to manage the damage at those tracks and see what we can make of the rest of the season.
We heard from a birdie that you might have already been practicing at the Red Bull Ring. So no doubt you will be fast. Hey, one thing I do want to tell you, listeners, said Smith's car should be light blue to match the ice water that runs through his veins. So you already are earning a reputation as the Iceman. So
I like the sound of that.
All right. Yeah, so congrats. Do you have any shout-outs before we let you go?
Well, as always, I'd like to thank the folks at the Slingshot Racing League for putting this show on, and y'all for broadcasting. Certainly, I'm looking forward to watching through it later tonight and seeing what y'all have been saying about me, and looking forward to getting back at it next week. I'd like to thank all the folks in the field for putting on a solid race. Like you said, only 11% of the laps under caution. You can't ask for much more than that. So hopefully that's a trend we'll continue on for the rest of the season.
Awesome. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you in the broadcast booth with your teammate Tony Hilbrand tomorrow for the Truck Series race. And that's been Aaron Smith, our winner for the Atlanta Motor Speedway UD Awards 200. Congrats, Aaron. Go enjoy the rest of your night.
All right. Thank you.
See you, buddy. All right. So there it is. You just heard from our top 3 finishers, Randy Bechtel, Tony Hilbrand, and number 1, Aaron Smith, making a statement victory tonight. And I think we've got a championship battle on our hands, Chris, between Randy, between Aaron, and if you could add another driver or 2 in there, who do you think you might add?
Well, after that impressive run last week at Daytona, in a second place finish tonight, Tony Hilbrand is probably going to be somebody to factor with as well for the championship. I'm also looking, I know he had a difficult result tonight, but our pole sitter tonight, Scott Sobczak, he's somebody that I'm not going to count out either. I watched him in practice, and I felt really, really good about his long run pace. He showed a lot to me that he knows how to, manage a race and keep his car underneath him for a long run. So I suspect that we haven't seen the last of that number 81 Square D Ford.
I think you're absolutely right about that. So you can see the final results from tonight. Obviously, we've talked to Aaron, Tony, and Randy. But fourth was Bailey Dutton with a great run and recovery after an incident early in the race. Patrick Colby also recovered from some early race troubles. Johnny Rapp also recovered from some early race troubles, followed by Rye Jones. Chris Blassie with a great 8th place finish, followed by Lee Campbell. And I believe this is going to be his best slingshot finish. He moved up 4 positions from his starting spot to finish 9th. Austin Greer had some early race trouble. He hangs on for a top 10. And Jacob Bradley, the guy we saw lead much of the night, the tire strategy just did not work out for him tonight. We saw that those badly degraded tires really got him in some trouble late in the race. He finished 11th. Scott Sobczak, who Chris just mentioned, is a guy to watch in terms of speed this season, finished 13th. Chase Berry wasn't able to march through the field after having some late race trouble. He finishes 14th. Justin Gann hangs on to a 15th place finish after finding himself in trouble late in the race, but a great run for Justin throughout much of tonight. We saw him running in the top 5 a lot tonight. Chris Pierce, after some early race contact with the wall, finished 16th. He mentioned to us this was his first race in this car at Atlanta. So, good job hanging on, finishing just 4 laps down. And then Brady Powers, who found himself in some trouble he could not recover from after getting involved in one of those multi-crashes earlier on in the race, is going to round out the field in 17th. So, Chris, did we see everything we thought we were going to see tonight?
Yeah, I mean, these guys did not disappoint on a very, very difficult track, on a very tough track, a track that chews up and eats the tires. These guys didn't disappoint, and they delivered with a great show. Some impressive performances tonight. I feel bad for Jacob Bradley, who had a lot of speed tonight, and it just didn't work out for him. The strategy didn't. That's just one of those, roll of the dice types of moments, and you just can't avoid them. No matter how many sets of tires you had, these guys had an extra one tonight, and sometimes you still get bit by that in the very end.
Absolutely. So those keys to the race and kind of the stories we expected to follow, everything panned out pretty similar to what we thought. Obviously, we're not fortune or future tellers, but we've known really what to expect from these guys. 2 races in, we've got some high quality drivers. And we will look forward to seeing what these drivers are going to bring to the track next week when we visit Michigan. So a slightly bigger track, slightly higher speeds. Are we going to see the same tire issues there that we saw tonight?
I really don't know. I don't think it will be as bad, but, you can remember our Apex Energy Cup Series race there that we had in the next gen cars. Michigan chewed up those tires. So I haven't been in this car on that track yet. I'm going to try to get some laps in this week so I can get a little bit of an idea of what the tire wear is like. But I always like watching races at Michigan. Normally puts on a really good show. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys, draft, take the draft around that track when we get there next week.
Absolutely. So I think that is going to do it for tonight. We appreciate anyone and everyone who turned in, whether you're watching on Twitch or YouTube or our Facebook channel. Thanks for watching tonight. We'll be back next week, but you don't have to wait until next week to catch more Slingshot Racing, because we're going to be right back here, same spot, same time, 8:30 Eastern time for the Apex Energy Cup Series race tomorrow. And we are headed to Fontana, which is going to prove to be a really fun track. We're going to see a lot of drafting, maybe not as much as Daytona, but those cars are going to be hung out tomorrow night. So if you like what you saw tonight, you want to see more, tune in on Wednesday nights for that truck series, also sponsored by Apex Energy. And we'll send it out with an Apex Energy ad. And just remember, if you're interested, you can go to apexenergydrink.com and get your order 10% off by using code Slingshot10. Give them a look, give them a chance, give them a try. You won't regret it. And we'll see you tomorrow night.